This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water, water, big ocean water.
What are you doing? I told you. I get it's Halloween. Doesn't mean you can host the show. All right? Thanks for watching the place, though. I appreciate that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Michigan Time. I'm your host, Alexander Rawlick, and we have a lot of news to get to this week. And to do that, I'm actually getting some help this time. So we're going to go to Midweek Update with Sophia Lynch and Julian Poza. Guys?
Hey, it's your boys.
Last week, Matthew McConaughey addressed the University of Texas basketball team, fueling months of memes with his sassy yet powerful posing. Insider sources say McConaughey didn't have too much to say, but the players thought he did all right.
The other day, President Trump was reported as saying he just spoke to the president of the U.S. Virgin Islands. We actually have a transcript of how that conversation went down. Allow us to reenact. Hello, Mr. President? Hello, Mr. President. May I just say you're doing a great job with this hurricane. Why, thank you, Mr. President. And may I say, you have a very sexy voice.
While Trump was shocked to learn that he was the president of the U.S. Virgin Islands, he was even more shocked to learn that the islands were not full of virgins. In other news, scientists have recently made a discovery of two stars colliding. Said one star, "Rob, you don't know what you're getting into."
Donald Trump recently attacked Senator John McCain, warning him that he might fight back. That's a pretty big threat, seeing how while McCain was fighting the Vietnamese, Trump was fighting heel spurs.
Controversy was stirred last week between Frederica Wilson and the White House in regards to Trump's comments made to the widow of a fallen soldier. Trump offered solace by reminding her that her late husband knew what he was getting into, which seems a little unfair coming from a man who's openly admitted that leading the country isn't what he thought he was getting himself into.
However, it should be noted that Wilson is not blameless here, for she is committing a fashion felony wearing that hat on a live news broadcast.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders echoes these thoughts, calling Wilson all hat and no cattle. Sanders sought to clarify what had really been said to the widow, but all she really clarified was how much she looks like the ugly stepsister from Shrek.
A new conspiracy took hold of the Twitter sphere in recent weeks, claiming that Trump went on a live broadcast with an imposter Melania by his side, disguised by big, dark glasses and a trench coat. We're not at the liberty to say if that is our First Lady hiding under there. So who better to speak to on this issue than Melania Trump? So, Melania, rumors have been spreading that your husband appeared on the news with a body double in your place. Can you confirm for us live that you really are who you say you are?
Hello, yes, I am Melania Trump. I come from Slovenia. I very much love my son, Beren.
Right. Well, I'm convinced. Donald Trump recently announced on Twitter that he would allow the release of thousands of classified files on the JFK assassination, but these files would have been released by October 26 anyway, so Trump is taking credit for doing nothing, pretty much summing up his whole presidency.
In other news, Senator Ben Sasse accidentally spilled some Dr. Pepper on Senator Ted Cruz, leading to a Twitter exchange between the two, ending with Cruz posting an out-of-context Zodiac Killer reference in response. I haven't seen someone try so hard to relate to millennials since my parents started using emojis.
East Wing Communications Director Stephanie Grissom told CNN that the Trump family has no plans on getting a pet in the White House. Said Grissom, "Why get another pet? We already have an Eric."
Ivana Trump revealed in her new memoir, Raising Trump, that Ivanka went through a punk phase because she was super into Nirvana. Congratulations, you went to middle school in the 90s.
A new article by the New York Times reveals that Fox renewed Bill O'Reilly's contract even after learning about his settlement for his sexual assault charges a month prior. All this and more is revealed in O'Reilly's new book, Killing My Career.
And this has been your midweek update. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you for that, guys. Now, our main story tonight concerns Russia, but we've already done quite a bit of the over-the-shoulder graphics stuff. So instead, we've brought in, and we'd like to introduce our Russian correspondent, Vanessa Sheldon. Vanessa, thanks for being here.
Hey Alex, thanks so much for having me today. I'm here to talk about all the amazing things about Russia, right?
Sort of. You were here to explain what's happening in the hostile relationship between the United States and Russia.
Oh, okay. I can do that. So Russia, excuse me, the greatest country in the world has always been forced to deal with this annoying thorn in their side called the USA.
I'm sorry, Vanessa, but what are you doing?
Yes, Vanessa, that's who I am. Not Valia Sharkovsky, a Russian implant. As I was saying, modern-day Russia was formed following the end of the USSR. That dirty drunk Yeltsin was in power and embarrassed us on the world stage, and then Putin came and tidied everything up.
Wasn't Yeltsin once found drunk without pants roaming the streets of D.C. looking for pizza? And what does tidied things up mean anyway?
We don't really talk about that. So the point is that Putin cleaned up all our problems and saved our economy in the 2000s.
Because 9/11 drove oil prices up, and Russia's economy is based on exporting resources. So shouldn't the meme be Putin did 9/11?
No. Putin saved the economy. He also rid the government of all corruption, and his first 2 terms were a success, and he is the greatest leader of all countries in the world.
By rid the government of corruption, you mean consolidate it all under him. I mean, his personal wealth has grown exponentially since he's taken power, and it's estimated now to be in the billions ever since United Russia has controlled the Duma. And in fact, some sources argue that if you look at all his assets, he could potentially be the richest man in the world right now.
This is nonsense. President Putin is wealthy in the sense that he has had the privilege of serving the greatest nation known as Russia 2 separate times.
That's literally an exact quote from Putin.
And I don't see the problem. I feel like he has a better grasp on the situation than either of us. I mean, you're just sitting here behind a desk at a college.
Fair. Moving on. The relationship between the United States and Russia was, by many standards, improving during the period that Dmitry Medvedev was president from 2008 to 2012. The U.S. and Russia had done the restart and hit the reset button. What has changed since then?
Well, U.S. President Obama didn't help. Thanks, Obama. It wasn't so much him as it was that uncomfortable shoulder-rubbing sidekick of his.
Oh, you mean Joe Biden, the Vice President of the United States. Yeah, that was pretty weird. I'm really actually hoping it was mostly harmless, but considering what's going on lately, we should probably look into that. Wait, did Joe Biden give Russia an awkward shoulder rub?
No. In Russia, shoulders rub Biden.
Hey.
Joe Biden not only suggested that Russia's power in the world was shrinking, but he also told Russian leaders that it would be better for Russia if President Putin wasn't president again in 2012. I mean, is he crazy?
Well, I think Biden was arguing that Russia's population is decreasing and the economy was weakening, which was true. The effect of the early 2000s oil boom wore off. And, I mean, he was probably right about Putin. Even after his first term in 2004, people were already arguing that Russia's democracy was backsliding. Joe kind of had a point.
And the U.S. democracy is not backsliding?
Hey, I asked the questions here. Where are the other drugs going?
What?
Sorry. That was another job. I apologize. But hold on to the U.S. backsliding. We're not quite there yet. We haven't discussed Syria.
Syria is where we can begin to discuss the socialist president.
Hey, Bernie would have won.
No, I'm not talking about Larry fucking David. I'm talking about Obama. He got involved in Syria and tried to take down Assad. And Russia liked Assad. Selfish Americans only thinking about what they want. Have they ever thought about what Russia wants?
I think Obama was thinking about what the Syrian people wanted.
He was also thinking about what a very, very small percentage of Ukrainians wanted as well.
Whoa. Switching topics too quickly. Like old-timey computers, there are too many moving parts in international relations. Why don't we recap for the people before going forward? Russia didn't like Boris Yeltsin, their first president.
Correct. Putin improved the country and returned it to the great nation status.
And he also profited heavily while effectively eliminating any real level of democracy or opposition to his regime.
Obama and the West looked down upon Russia and never took into mind its interests. Instead, the U.S. endlessly tried to push its own agenda against the greatest nation in the world.
And that gets us to the Ukraine, where protests erupted in 2013 when then-President Viktor Yanukovych would not sign a free trade agreement with the European Union and instead opted for closer ties with Russia against the will of his people.
And who wouldn't want closer ties with Russia? I mean, a resource-based economy, a history of dominant athletics, and has anyone ever told you how beautiful Siberia is in the winter? Besides, there is no such thing as Ukraine. It's made up by Obama. They're just Russians going through a punk phase, kind of like Ivanka Trump.
Except they're their own sovereign nation, and everyone's into Nirvana.
Russians and Ukrainians are like one people. It's like Michiganders and Ohioans.
Whoa, easy there. But please, what happened next?
Oh, whatever. The Ukrainian people ousted Yankovic, and then Crimea had elections to be part of the Russia instead of. Wait, can we roll that back again? Sorry, that was my bad.
Yeah, that's good. It's fine. When was the last cut?
Me? All right. Oh, I'm looking at camera 2 now? Oh, okay. The Ukrainian people ousted Yankovic, and then Crimea had elections to become part of Russia, instead of joining with the Euromaidens and the rest of Ukraine. Russia moved in to project its new territory, and then the American snowflakes like you whined and cried because their basketball-loving president could not dunk on VVP.
Weird string of thoughts you just had. See, I thought America, along with the European Union and the United Nations, declared that the vote to annex Crimea was illegitimate and illegal.
Under British law, wasn't America's independence illegal? Point is, after Obama had sanctions placed on Russia in a childish attempt to get back at Russia because they're such sore losers.
The sanctions that you brought up, they were working, right? Russia's economy has struggled ever since then, and that is why they felt the need to interfere with our elections.
No. They did no such thing. This is a made-up story by liberals like you, and you are just fake news and lost.
Wait, I'm a little embarrassed to have taken so long to notice this, but are you just here to just push Russian propaganda?
What?
Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on here in this spooky studio, but wait, was that you?
I don't know.
All right, I'm not going to push it. Now, again, I'm not saying they did, but hypothetically, what would a Russian disinformation campaign look like, and why might they have some reasons to maybe do it?
We're only speaking in hypotheticals, right?
Correct. 100%.
Complete hypotheticals.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Hypothetically, I would guess it would maybe include buying ads on the internet, using fake accounts to use poorly sourced stories in order to push a certain narrative, maybe running fake accounts on social media sites. Oh, also using all three of these strategies to target potential voters in important states. This would maybe allow them to make the U.S. look weak and stupid and lessen its influence around the world, but then again, that is a hypothetical.
Wow, that's a lot. Are you sure there's nothing else that we should know about?
Well, then you would want to create an internal struggle. Those accounts would probably try to be racial differences to weaken the U.S. because, you guys are like weird with racial stuff. They would also probably try and target anti-establishment groups in the U.S., such as maybe Black Lives Matter and other groups that support those types of movements. They may even fund self-defense classes in inner city areas in order to stoke fear and discord in American society. But hypothetically.
Oh, so Russian trolls pretend to be everybody.
Yes, if Russia had a disinformation campaign, they would pretend to be everyone. left, right, up, down, Wolverine, Buckeye, clean, dirty. You kind of see it, right?
So, I could be a Russian bot, and I don't even know it. Oh, God. Vanessa Sheldon, everyone. That's our episode this week. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Except we might not, because I have to go find out if I'm real or a Russian propaganda tool. Ah!